Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We are thrilled to sit down with the newest Raven, Derrick Henry. And I got to start here, Derrick. You know, that 2019 playoff game, there's been a lot of Ravens-Titans matchups, but, you know, you ran all over the place. You even threw for a touchdown. Why'd you have to do us so dirty in that game? That's the question.
Well, I mean, the Ravens were the number 1 seed that year, so we knew
just don't rub it in. You're rubbing it in a little bit.
I'm just saying that it was just we knew it was going to be a big game. We knew we had to come with it that week, and you know we were definitely locked in. I knew I had to be locked in and have a great impact to give ourselves a chance to win, and glad I was able to do that. But different times now. I'm a Raven now.
There we go. There we go.
We can change it.
So you can throw some touchdowns against the other team.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Is it at all strange for you to switch teams? I mean, the Ravens and the Titans really became a rivalry. It was way back in the day, and over the past few years, really with that game in particular, the rivalry kind of ramped up to another level. Does it feel weird to come over to this side of it?
It's definitely gonna be different, but at the end of the day, I just ask God to put me where I'm supposed to be, and I think that me coming here was where I needed to be, and very thankful for this opportunity. We had some great battles over the years when I was in Tennessee. I'm on the other side now, excited. I feel like their style fits my style, and just want to be able to add another piece to the offense, and and help this team in any way possible by the way I play and how I go about my business. What
are your emotions leaving Tennessee, a place you played for a long time?
Yeah, I'm thankful for my time there. I had some incredible years there. That's where I started. I'm grateful for that organization and everybody a part of that organization. But I feel like it was probably time for both sides to move on, and always have love for the city of Nashville and everybody in Nashville. Still have the soccer team there, so I got a little ownership in there. But excited to be a Raven, excited to be coming to Baltimore, be a part of Flock Nation. It's an exciting time for me, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
It felt like this pairing was just destined to happen, that this was destiny. Mm-hmm. Even going back to last year's trade deadline, Eric DeCosta confirmed that, the Ravens are trying to get that trade done, and it was close to happening, it seems. But I'm curious, was there ever a time even before that, even going back to the draft, you're an Alabama running back, and Ozzie Newsome, he knows Alabama players pretty darn well. Was there ever a time that you thought before then that you could have become a Raven?
I thought it might be a possibility because Ozzie was, I think, the GM at the time. And when I first got to Bama, CJ Mosley was there, and he drafted him. Mm-hmm. And coming out for the draft, I wanted to go somewhere that had the same mentality as Bama, that runner to run the ball and that were physical, and I feel like the Ravens did that. I didn't know if they were going to draft me. I would have been happy if they did, but everything happens for a reason. I'm glad I'm here now, and have a chance to be a part of the history, and to see the history of this organization with Ray and Ed Reed. And I actually for the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, I ran into Jamal Lewis and got to talk to him for a little bit. I was a big fan of his growing up as a kid.
He's brought a few people over like you.
Similar style.
Yeah, and got to spend some time with Ray at the Pro Bowl. So I just felt like it was just all coming to fruition, and it was eventually going to happen because the signs just point to me being a Raven. So.
That's interesting. So I'm curious, like when you talk to Ray at the Pro Bowl or Jamal Lewis at the Super Bowl, what were you thinking at that point in those conversations? Of course, this year you knew you were going to be a free agent, but did you feel like it's looking like you're going to end up in Baltimore? Or was that part of your thought process when you were having those conversations with those guys?
Yeah, talking to Ray at the Pro Bowl, with the trade happening and being so close to almost coming here during that time, I just wanted to ask Ray about the organization and how he felt he possibly becoming the Raven and this possibly happening, and the passion that he spoke with about the organization, and how he still feels about the organization now that he's retired. He still feels like, he's still playing for it by the way he speaks about it. And Ray is always known for his passion, but it just spoke to me. And then seeing Jamal and for the first time and meeting him and talking to him, I just felt like, it was just a perfect match and it made sense. And I was just glad that it worked out for me to be able to finally be a Raven.
That's awesome.
I'm curious, were there any other teams that approached you in free agency? Who were some of the other teams that were talking to you?
Really, was the Ravens, Houston. They poked around a little bit, but that would have been a touchy situation going over there to Houston, a division rival. But I would just really focus on, if I could get here, this is where I want to be. We can work through the kinks and get the business side taken care of, then I'll be happy and glad that it happened, because this is where I want to be. I just feel like it's a perfect fit, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
I think that I got to believe that the opportunity to play with Lamar was part of the interest. I mean, you said it's a no-brainer. You talked about the legacy of guys who've been here. But like when I just see the pictures of you and Lamar Jackson, whether it's from the Pro Bowl or from NFL honors of you guys, and I think about you two being in the same backfield, it's scary. I mean, it is scary for defenses. How big of a factor was the opportunity to team up with Lamar in your decision?
It definitely played a big factor. He's another Florida boy. I'm a Florida boy, and the impact that he's had at his organization has been huge. And the respect he has in his league is huge as well. And what he's done is in this league, I respect his game a lot. And he's a dynamic player. Yeah. I feel like he's one of the best, and not the best player in this league. And you got a game plan for him in a different way than you do any other player. So it's gonna be excited to be beside him in the offense and be an adding piece to this offense and see how defenses try to prepare a plan to stop us. That's gonna be exciting as well. And I'm excited to play with everybody on this team. I'm excited to get in the running back room and get to know those guys and compete with them every day and help them get better. Having Pat block for me, seeing him on film, how nasty and tenacious he is with his blocking. Mark Andrews is a playmaker as well. He's made some big plays. Him and Lamar have a special connection. And then on the defensive side, going against those guys and us making each other better. I'm just excited, man. And it's going to be fun competing and getting better every day and letting it lead to something special.
What was going through your mind down the stretch last season as you're seeing the Ravens make the run after the trade deadline? The Ravens make the run, going deep in the playoffs. What was running through your mind at that time?
I think you definitely know how I was feeling. But I was being a fan from afar, and it was cool to see Lamar flourish in the playoffs. Even though they came up short, just as motivation and fuel to the fire to take that next step to get to the Super Bowl and win one. And I know he's hungry for it. The team is hungry for it, and I'm excited to be able to help come do that.
Yeah. Do you feel that way? I mean, obviously, a lot of things have to come together. It never comes down to one player. But do you feel like coming here, hey, maybe I am that missing piece that can get them over the hump?
Yeah, hopefully I can be. And then as free agency goes on in the draft, add more pieces to it to finally get that to happen. The last time the Ravens won the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, and the Super Bowl is in New Orleans this year. So
your history.
We're thinking we're on the same page.
Yeah, I hope it comes to fruition, and but. We'll see what happens, but excited to see what's in store for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting in looking at your career, wherever you've been, high school, college, pros, like you've been ultra productive. I mean, I don't know that there's been a better running back in your lifetime from a production standpoint. There hasn't been. I mean, you've been you're at the top of that list, and you have all these records, and you've been an incredible player. And I think that you just keep kind of defying the odds over the course of your career. And it's been impressive to watch and painful to watch at times when we've been on the other side of this thing. And so at this stage of your career, I'm curious, why do you think that you have been able to do that? And how will you continue to be able to do that here with the Ravens?
I appreciate that. I appreciate your words. I just hold myself to a high standard, and I have high expectations for myself, and I'm my worst critic. It's a good thing and it's a burden because I'm very hard on myself, and if I don't do things that I expect myself to do, and I try to work hard to play at a high level consistently, and I try to take care of my body, eat the right things, talk to guys who played in this league a long time, and see the things that they've done and try to implement it into mine, and be a sponge to anybody in the game that wants to give me advice, and then just continue to work hard as I can throughout the season and the off season, and just be physical as I can, and be smart with everything else. But I'm definitely grateful to be able to go in year 9, be able to play 8 years, and especially at this position in this day and age, and being the age that I am. It's definitely a blessing, and look forward to more years for sure.
Do you use that as motivation? Like, everybody finds motivation in certain ways. You got the question in your press conference about you're 30 now. How do you feel about that? You're going into year 9. Can you keep it up? Like, do you use that stuff as motivation?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, we all know it. Once you get up in age at this position, those questions are going to come because what history shows. But at the end of the day, it's about how you feel, how your body feels, and I feel great. I don't feel any different, and I can't wait to show that when the opportunity comes.
Can't wait.
mean, there have been plenty of 30-year-old running backs who have run for 1,000 yards over their career. Fred Taylor did it. You were growing up just north of Jacksonville.
I'm straight from him,
You probably saw that, right?
Yeah.
You talked about learning from those guys and studying those guys and what it took to be at that level at 30 years old. Who are some of those players that you talked to or studied?
Well, I was a big fan of Frank Gore. It's crazy to watch him growing up and then playing against him and keep playing against him because he keeps playing his longevity.
Yeah.
And that was so cool. And then after games, talking to him, getting knowledge from him as well. And then being a big fan of Adrian Peterson as well. And then watching him and then playing against him and keep playing against him. So that was really cool. And that was just some cool examples right there. Guys I idolized growing up and watching them. And every time I saw them, anytime after a game, they would always give me knowledge, and I just suck it up like a sponge. And me and Eddie George became close throughout the years, and talking to him and getting advice from him. And then my big bro Mark Ingram.
I was just gonna say it. Mark Ingram did it here.
Played a big part, in helping me in my career, and the advice that he gave me. I took it to heart, and I appreciate him very dearly for taking his time out to give me advice and be that shoulder to lean on, being a big brother, and Sean Alexander as well. So I had some great guys, some great vets that helped me along the way for sure.
Is there any part of you that feels like, hey, some of my best seasons, now it's hard to top a 2,000-yard season, but like that you could have even better seasons here in Baltimore because of the threat of Lamar and what that poses, because of the Ravens' run scheme, their offensive line, like what we've built here in Baltimore from a running perspective? Do you feel like, hey, the best might be to come?
Yeah, I definitely feel that way, but I know it's going to take a lot of hard work. Everything looks good on paper, but you got to put the work in to make it come to life, and that's all I want to do. Everything's exciting, and great times right now for sure. Be able to join this organization, this team, and be a part of this offense. But I got to put the work in, earn the respect of my teammates by how I work, come in and do my job the way I know how to, earn a role on this team, and do my best to help them win. And I'm excited for opportunity. We'll never shy from putting the work in, and excited to do that.
Now, you mentioned Mark Ingram. A little trivia for you here. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're a Heisman Trophy winner. Lamar Jackson's a Heisman Trophy winner. Mark Ingram, Heisman Trophy winner. You're going to be the 7th Heisman Trophy winner to play for the Ravens.
That's kind of cool.
I mean, there's a long track record here. Nice. What's that mean to you?
That's kind of cool. Mark, Lamar, me, Robert Griffin.
Yep. Let's see if you can keep going here.
Troy Smith.
Troy Smith from Ohio State.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Way back to Vinny T.
Wow.
Vinny T.
Wow.
And there's one other running back who played here at the end of his career, Texas guy.
Play here at the end of his career. Oh,
Ricky Williams.
Oh, Ricky did play here. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Ricky Williams. Dang, that's crazy. Because he used to have I remember that. He had the dark visor with the, I remember that. I mean,
There's a legacy. You're carrying on the Heisman legacy here.
Yeah, Ricky Williams, that's kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Hey, I'm curious, everybody, when talking about you and your game, right, and just your style and how big you are and all that, like, there's so many adjectives that people can use. It's like monster, alien. That's what I referred to you as the other day. You're just, like from another planet, right? Like something like, is there any that you Eric DeCosta just called you a unicorn? I just want to get it from your mouth. Are there any that you prefer? So I know to use those moving forward.
No, I don't prefer none. I don't.
Okay,
none. I don't. I mean, like, it don't matter what you say. I appreciate it all. It's kind of cool to see how people see me in their eyes and hear that. But at the same time, I'm always going to take the humble approach and continue to work. And the things that they say proves them right by saying it.
There you go. Well, you're definitely one of those guys that you look up and you're like, wow, that dude, I can't wait to see what that guy does on the field.
I appreciate it.
The last one for me, and I can't wait to see you on the field. I know Ravens fans feel this way. I know you have talked about the atmosphere inside M&T Bank Stadium and just how, I've heard you talk on Taylor Lewan and the Bus with the Boys podcast about just like being at the bank and the atmosphere that's there and how crazy that is. What do you think of now being on the side of it where you're going to get those cheers? Like, what do you expect that atmosphere to be like in Baltimore when you take that field for the first time this year?
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, still to this day, that game was probably like the most it was like, wow game I've been a part of in the league. The whole atmosphere, the whole game day experience, and like the whole fan base just into it. The lights, the whole genre of the whole thing. And like Taylor said, when Lamar came out and he held that towel and the crowd went, wow, I was like, wow, this is what the NFL is all about. And now, I get to play in this stadium, so I'm excited and I can't wait for that game when the stadium is packed out and it's just like the atmosphere is like no other. So I'm excited and can't wait for that experience.
Yeah,
awesome.
man. Well,
We
we're
can't
all
wait either.
excited.
We can't wait either. It's going to be awesome. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank y'all.
Awesome, man. Welcome back into the Lounge Podcast. We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. We want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. They've got an offer running right now that you don't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK. If you're a new user, you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. The promo code again is FLOCK only at DraftKings. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. You need to be 21 years or older to play and physically present in Maryland. So I don't know about you, but in listening to King Henry here, I just could not wait for this season. I think he is going to fit this team in every possible way on the field, in the locker room. I am fired up, even more so after sitting down with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think he's made a great first impression here in Baltimore. And, as soon as you see the guy walk into the building, especially when he's wearing such a nice purple suit, you're like, yes, I'm into this. And then, just to talk with him and see how modest he is, see his mindset, see just how nice a guy he is, it just seems like a really great fit, not only from the player standpoint, which we've seen from afar for years now, but from a person standpoint, I think he's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, it kind of goes to, it just felt like he was saying this and the Ravens were saying this, like he was the guy. He was the target at the start of this free agency process. Derrick Henry felt like he was going to land in Baltimore, so much so he's at the Pro Bowl asking Ray Lewis what it's like to play for the Ravens.
What it's going to be like.
He's like, what do you think? Tell me about the Ravens. What do you think? And then Ray Lewis gives obviously a ringing endorsement of what the organization is like. And I just found that really interesting. Like coming to Baltimore was clearly on his mind. That was something that he felt like was a very likely, not a certainty, but all signs are pointing in that direction
Yeah.
this offseason.
Well, I mean, when you have a deal at the last year's trade deadline that it sounds like came really close to happening, then that's always in the back of your mind. You know, he said he was watching the Ravens in the playoffs and kind of rooting for them and surely thinking about the difference he could have made for them down the stretch and in the playoffs. And so when your head's already in that space, when you're already picturing yourself playing for that team, then you hit free agency and, oh, that team still wants you, still has a running back need. Like, it just, as we said, it felt like destiny. And I kind of wonder how much that played into what his market was in free agency also. You know, 10 other running backs signed before he did. And he told us that it was really the Ravens and the Texans poked around a little bit.
Yeah.
It seemed like the rest of the league also had that understanding. Maybe they, saw a 30-year-old running back with as much mileage as he has, and they were scared off by that. Or maybe they also thought, you know what, the Ravens, this guy's going to go to the Ravens. So, like, why?
Yeah, like he's gonna end up in Baltimore. And even Henry said it. He basically said, I felt like I was going to end up there, and then we'll just figure out the contract. Like, the contract will work out. We know that this is where we want to be. I want to be here. You want me here. Okay, that hurdle has been overcome. Right. Now let's just figure out the contract piece of this, which is like kind of a big deal, but it didn't seem to him like it was that big of an issue. It was like, I'm going to get paid fairly or whatever, and let's just figure out the contract, but I want to go there, and I know that you guys want me here.
Yeah, absolutely. And he sees a team, you know, that he saw from his couch watching them lose in the AFC championships, and he knows, hey, you know, maybe I can be that guy that gets them over the hump like he thought he probably could have been last year.
Yeah.
And so I think just all those different factors, pairing up with Lamar, who he clearly has a lot of respect for, you know, all of that, I think you put it all together and it just made too much sense.
The one other factor I would say too is the last question I asked him just about experience and playing at M&T Bank Stadium. Like, I think that he felt the energy from the fans in that game. It just, you know, that was a night game. It was an incredible atmosphere. Obviously, it didn't, you know, it was great until the game, you know, for Ravens fans, to be honest. And it didn't end the way that Ravens fans wanted. But as a player, to hear him talk, like, he's played in a million different games, right? Playoff games, big games, all over the place. And for him to talk about that atmosphere and how exciting that was, and that made him feel like this is what the NFL is all about. I mean, this is the guy who played Alabama. He played in Alabama.
He'd been in the league for 3 years.
Yeah, he'd been like in the league for a while, and it was like, this is what it's all about. And I think that, like, that's probably in the back of his mind too, when he's thinking about where he wants to go. And I just think that for all those reasons, it made so much sense. And I really think from a football standpoint, X's and O's wise, you know, I think that it's going to really stress defenses in a million different ways. Like, he has the ability to not just be a downhill, a hard-nosed runner. Like, I don't want people to kind of confuse Derrick Henry as just like, oh man, this guy is, if you need short yardage or anything like that. No. He has the ability.
He's a game changer. I mean, this is a guy that can break an 80-yard touchdown run at any time. That's what he's done over his entire career.
Yeah.
And, you know, opponents are going to try to run blitz and blitz the snot out of the Ravens to try to slow. The whole key to slowing down Derrick Henry is to get him at the line of scrimmage or behind it. Get him before he gets going, because when this guy has a head of steam, he is really hard to stop, especially if you're a defensive back.
Yeah.
Right. And the Ravens, because of what Lamar Jackson does and the stress he puts on defenses, are really good at getting running backs heads of steam, because people have to hesitate. They can't really play as fast downhill. So they're going to have to blitz the Ravens. They're going to have to load up the box and blitz, and that's going to open up the passing game for the Ravens too. And if they call the wrong run blitz or whatever, then if he gets a lane, he might be gone. You know, or really big chunk plays. Like, I think that's what Derrick Henry is going to bring the Ravens. It's not only that consistent guy kind of churning out 5 yards. It's like, this guy could break one at any time.
Yeah, totally. And I just think that, you know, this playing in this offense, I think that he's going to get probably fewer carries than he often did for the Titans, just because runs the ball more. Lamar runs the ball more, certainly more than Tannehill did. And then Justice Hill can get some carries, and then if the Ravens end up adding somebody still in free agency or the draft,
back at some point.
Like, it's going to be more of a share. I don't think there's going to be too many games where Derrick Henry carries the ball for 30 times.
Yeah.
but I don't think he's going to need to carry the ball 30 times.
Yeah, and that's been the Ravens' MO with some of these 30-plus-year-old free agents when they brought them in, is try to maintain their snaps a little bit better than maybe when they were in their mid to late 20s in their last stops. Kind of keep fresh legs a little bit, and then we'll get the most out of these guys. While a lot of teams are scared off from 30-plus-year-old veterans at various positions, not just running back, the Ravens have embraced those kind of players, and it's all about managing them to get the best out of them at that point. And I expect the Ravens will do the same with Derrick Henry. Really, the biggest priority for the Ravens now as we move forward from this signing is building an offensive line for Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and the rest of the offense. And that's where the questions are at this point after the reported trade of Morgan Moses, which hasn't been finalized yet, but expect it to be, of course, and then 2 open starting guard spots. That's the next priority for the Ravens is, hey, you got King Henry, but you need the blockers in front of him.
Yeah. So they're going to have their left tackle and their center, but they're still looking for 3 other starting spots along that offensive line. And Eric DeCosta talked about how, that's the focus. And, it's a press conference, so take from it what you want, but certainly did not seem to me in hearing from Eric DeCosta that he's panicking about the status of the offensive line.
This was part of the plan. I think they knew that they were going to trade Morgan Moses. They knew that, John Simpson was going to sign elsewhere, most likely. Same with Kevin Zeitler. They didn't sign him before his void years, the void years went into effect. So this is the beginning of the rebuild that they told us about that was coming. And so it's the painful part of the rebuild, right? When you're seeing guys leave and there have been no additions. That's the tough part. I understand from a fan perspective, but just know the plan is there's a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're not as surprised as fans are when these moves are happening. And so I think that they feel good about their ability to rebuild the offensive line.
John Harbaugh said as much. He said, I'm confident that we're going to have a good offensive line this year.
They know how important it is. And I think that they'll get that figured out. And then you're going to have King Henry coming out of that backfield, and that's scary for defenses. So we're fired up about this. I hope Ravens fans are as well. As always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. If you want to go back and listen to Derrick Henry's full press conference where he was joined by John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta, you can head over to the Ravens Press Pass podcast feed. We've got that presser posted for you in its entirety. So thank you so much for listening and for watching, and we'll be back with you again soon.